Vas Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, welcome to our Sunday program. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text 1. Shloka Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshyami Anasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajñatva Mokshase Shubhat. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjun, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Purport. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement toward spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book, and in the 2nd and 3rd chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service, and because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now this first verse has specific significance. The words Idam Jnanam, this knowledge, refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by the devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshami Anasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yaj Gyatva Moksha Se Shubhat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjun, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Hare Krishna. Now we are on chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, text 1. This is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge. Acharyas have described this chapter like a pearl, moti. And that pearl is in the oyster. You know what oyster is? What is it in Hindi? Anyway, huh? So that pearl in Tamil, you understand? The oyster is closed, like in a shell. Inside is a pearl. So this chapter is like the pearl, and the Gita chapters enclosing it, which are 9, are covering and keeping it, because this is giving the most confidential knowledge. What is that knowledge? Let's see. Krishna is telling Arjun that because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge. This knowledge, people are looking after different knowledge in this world. Generally, Jiva is born with no knowledge. So he goes to school, goes to college. He wants to know different things. Well, mostly we want to know how to earn money. But we also want to know something about what is the sky, what is the capital of China, where do we get iron ore. So we learn geography, biology, physics, so many topics we learn. People want to get knowledge. And so they read on internet, newspapers, magazines, looking for knowledge. But that knowledge will not satisfy us. This is material knowledge. We'll find out something about this world, about this body, about something about another country, or something about some film star, music star, cricket star. We'll find out. That will not satisfy us. Again, we have to seek more knowledge. It does not satisfy. Spiritual knowledge is different. If I get more spiritual knowledge, if I get more knowledge of Gita, of Bhagavatam, more and more knowledge, I become very happy and very peaceful. And one nature about this knowledge is it's punya, it's purifying, it is punyashali. Shinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanai. The Krishna Katha, Shinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana. Just by hearing Krishna Katha, I become pious, I become truthful, I become honest. I don't want to sin, I don't want to do bad things, I become a good person. That is first step. That is not the only thing. By hearing Katha of Krishna, it's mentioned here. Devotees are constantly engaged in hearings about Krishna. They constantly hear. Devotees means the bhakts, Krishna's bhakts. They hear about Krishna constantly. And what is the result? Here it says that in Srimad Bhagavatam, as a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is that books, you see that 18 books at the back. So in Bhagavatam it's written, the messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies. These potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among devotees. So it said that the Krishna Katha, if I'm speaking, that sound has energy, and that energy enters our ears and makes us pure. Satam prasangam mama virya sangvido bhavanti hitkayana rasayana katha. This is the shloka they're referring to, I suppose. There are many verses similar. So it says, Satam prasangam. When we are sitting with other devotees, other Krishna Bhakt, Satam prasangam, and then Krishna is saying, Satam prasangam mama virya sangvido. And we hear about Krishna while sitting with so many devotees. Bhavanti hitkayana rasayana katha. Then it becomes very pleasant to hear. Rasayana. Rasayana is in Ayurveda. It's something, if you take it, it cures a disease, gives long life, energy. This is rasayana. They have it in Ayurveda. But this is ultimate rasayana, because not only you'll get a long life, you'll get eternal life. Eternal. No more birth and death. Bhavanti hirt karna rasayana katha. This is rasayana. It is very tasty, but normally how do we taste? With the tongue. With the tongue I can taste. But this says Bhavanti hirt karna rasayana katha. It's so sweet for the ear to hear. So when we hear constantly about Krishna, what happens? We get purified. We have so many desires in our heart. Now these desires to enjoy in this world, enjoy this body, and some of them are not pious. They are impious. So they are sinful. So when we hear about Krishna, these tendencies go. So this is the result of hearing. So their knowledge of Krishna here in Bhagavad Gita, it's very different. It's not like the knowledge we're hearing in school, in college. That knowledge is also needed because we're in the material world. We need material knowledge. But spiritual knowledge is something different. Because spiritual knowledge, it enlightens us. It's enlighten means that we get a deep understanding, who am I, who is God, what is this world. Now we are in ignorance. Because we are in ignorance, we don't have knowledge. Because of that, actually we are suffering, but we don't know. We can't understand. People who are more ignorant, they in a suffering condition more. If I cannot understand things, how things are working, then in this world I'll not be prepared for what happens. But someone who understands how to go about in this world, materially I'm speaking about, how to earn money, how to stay free from medical problems, how to stay free from any legal problems, then he lives a peaceful life. Similarly, the jiva in this material world has to understand what is the plan of this world and what is the plan of this body. Everyone has a body. Why? Why did we take birth? There is a plan. Some will say there is no plan. Why? Because they don't know the plan. There is no plan. I'll give you one analogy. A person, he's seeing a bus. So he gets on the bus because he wants to go somewhere. On the bus he's asking somebody, where is this bus going? And the man on the bus saying, I don't know. Then he's thinking, this person is on the bus, he doesn't know where the bus is going. Okay, can you tell me where the bus came from at least? I don't know. So, what are you doing on the bus? You don't know where the bus is going, where the bus came. Okay. At least tell me, where's the bus now? Where is this place? I don't know anything. Then what do you think? This person is a fool. He's sitting on the bus. He doesn't know anything. Where's the bus going, coming? So what is your plan? Why are you on the bus? Similarly, we are sitting on this vehicle. This is called yantra in Bhagavad Gita. Yantra, machine. We are sitting on this yantra. We have a beginning, isn't it? We were born. Now where are you? Don't tell me Bangalore. We are somewhere in this creation. And we are not going to live forever, isn't it? we are going to finish the life at a certain point. So where are you going? Where did you come from? Huh? Your house. Okay. Okay, for example, I want to give an example. Sanjay, what is your age? 21. It's 21. So 10 years ago, where were you 10 years ago? Now you're in Bangalore. Before 10 years? In? Okay. In the village. Okay, fine. 10 years ago, he was in the village. He's 21. Okay. Where were you 30 years ago?
I will be in back.
30 years. Now you're 21. Now you're 21 years. 30 years ago, where were you?
30 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where did you come from?
He's saying, I don't know.
Anyway, now you get the point. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Yeah, we are sitting on the vehicle. So we have to get this knowledge. Okay, this is called most confidential knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is giving this knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is giving knowledge where you are now, where you came from, where you are going. Because we don't know. Okay, we don't know. Everything we see with the eyes, we think this is what the knowledge is. But there's something beyond which we can see. Okay, some things we cannot know by this knowledge. So the knowledge Krishna gives, he's telling Arjuna, now I'm going to give you knowledge. What is the result of that knowledge? He says, Yajgyatva mokshase ashubhat, which means by getting this knowledge, you'll be relieved from suffering. This material world has many different features. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's raining. Right now there is no water in some places. It's very hot. And different problems. Sometimes there's viruses. Basically, this material world has a lot of suffering. So people are planning in this world how to not to suffer. They're thinking that how not to suffer is I'll accumulate maybe money or knowledge, job, or live in a good country or something like that. They don't want to suffer. We don't want to suffer. So we'll plan. But actually, that cannot stop the suffering, because the problem of suffering people don't understand. How does suffering come? Originally, what is the root cause of suffering? The root cause of suffering is forgetfulness of our relation to Krishna. All of us are Jeev. The Jeev has a role. He has a duty. The duty is serving Krishna in this world. So, all of you we can engage in our daily life and activities, but we are supposed to engage in our life in such a way that we are worshipping Krishna and living our life and sorting out whatever problems we have. So this is called bhakti. If we live life serving Krishna, automatically we come under Krishna's antaranga shakti, spiritual energy. When we are under Krishna's spiritual energy, then we don't suffer, because we are under Krishna. Krishna's spiritual energy is very happy, blissful. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kangshati. Bhagavad Gita says, Brahmabhuta means the spiritual level. Prasannatma, prasanna. If someone comes on the spiritual level, he's very prasanna, happy. Prasannatma, na shochati, does not lament. Na shochati na kangshati. He doesn't desire anything. So this is the special feature of somebody who is serving Krishna. And the knowledge which Krishna is going to give Arjuna, he says, it will relieve you from the misery. This misery that we're having, people are trying to solve the misery by material ways, different ways. This is not possible. We are all so disturbed. Before us, our parents, grandparents, all generations of people always suffering and going through problems. But Bhagavad Gita tells us how to be happy. We have to get knowledge of God and who are we and what is our relation to God. So Krishna will give this knowledge to Arjuna. He's saying that. And when we get this knowledge, it's not easy, because we have to qualify. There's adhikar for us to understand about God and to understand this knowledge. We have to follow a certain life, become pure. But of course, there's always a beginning. We start and gradually we purify. But it says here that this knowledge, we sit and we get this knowledge. Devotees, Krishna Bhakt, devotees of the Lord, they are always hearing about Krishna. They hear and they are serving Krishna all the time. Devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. So, we want to hear about Krishna, we want to know about Krishna, but sometimes people say, I don't understand Bhagavad Gita. I sat in the lecture, I didn't understand anything what he's saying. It's a common thing. Why is that? Because to understand this topic, you don't need a material intelligence. Once I was selling the Gita to someone, I was explaining him, see, to understand Gita, I was explaining, he told me, don't worry, I went to IIT, I'll understand. I said, okay, you understand, and then so you come to our temple and you ask questions. He said, okay, then I didn't see him again. But actually, to understand Bhagavad Gita, the material intelligence does not help. Inside, Krishna has to give that intelligence. So, here he's saying that Krishna is saying, Prabhupada explains, the Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him intelligence to understand the science of Krishna. In case we don't understand about Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will give the knowledge. We don't have to worry, but we have to follow our duty, Swadharma, Sanatan Dharma. We have to engage in serving Krishna, engage in seva, and try to understand by reading the books. Then Krishna will give that jnana. But why isn't it that Krishna doesn't give jnana easily? It is confidential, guhya. Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshami anasuyave. Krishna will not give the knowledge easily about himself. He will only give it to the devotee, the bhakt. Because the knowledge of Krishna will give you bhakti. It will put you on a spiritual level and we'll be able to serve Krishna. We'll be able to see Krishna. So the people who Krishna wants to bring to him, at least they should be loving Krishna, isn't it? Not criticizing or hating or ignoring. So therefore he says to Arjun, Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshami anasuyave. That Arjun, I am going to tell you this knowledge. Why? Anasuyave. Because you are not envious of me. What is envy? Envy. Irshya. Knowledge. Envy. Many people envy in Tamil? Yeah. So many people came to this material world because of envy of Krishna. Our duty is to serve Krishna. We were with Krishna in Goloka, but we didn't want to serve him. We thought, why do I have to serve him? I have to serve myself. I also want to be Ishwar, God. So okay, then we left Goloka, we came here. So all of us can try to enjoy separate from Krishna. That's why we came. So we are all envious of God. No one wants to surrender to God. Instead, they want to make a plan how they'll enjoy in this world and they'll control and they'll be boss. Few people come to Krishna. Krishna says here in Bhagavad Gita, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhai. Out of thousands and thousands of people, only few will think that I have to get siddhi, I have to get some perfection, I have to become pure. Kaschid yatati siddhai, yatatam api siddhanam, kaschin mam veti tatvataha. Out of those who became purified, who got perfection, who came on the spiritual level, Krishna says, very few will understand me. So we understand, who will understand Krishna? Very few people. So our goal is that we have to come on this level of surrendering to Krishna. For that we have to get the knowledge. Krishna will give the knowledge, but to one who is not envious. He's telling Arjun, Pravakshami anasuyave. Arjun, you are not envious of me, so I'll give you this knowledge, most confidential knowledge. So then he speaks this chapter 9. Chapter 9 in Bhagavad Gita is the deepest knowledge because it directly gives knowledge of Krishna. Here it's written that if a fortunate person, Bhagyavan, fortunate person, has association of devotees, in association of devotees he is hearing Bhagavad Gita, and tries to assimilate that knowledge, tries to get that knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. He will get perfection. He will get success in spiritual life. If we sit in association of devotees and hear Bhagavad Gita. So, Lord Krishna is trying to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation. Krishna already spoke 8 chapters. Arjuna is already on a high level because he got so much knowledge from Krishna. So now Krishna wants to give him this highest knowledge that we are speaking about. And the highest knowledge it's talking about, it comes in the last verse of this chapter. If you want to know, you can come attend 34 Sundays, 34 like shlokas, and we'll get it. But anyway, before we come to that we are saying about highest knowledge, knowledge will enlighten us. After getting enlightenment, our suffering will stop. Why? Why are we saying that? Because I said our suffering is due to ignorance. We don't have knowledge. I don't know who I am. Of course I know my name, but what is that? Name. I know my name. I know where I was born, which village, which country, but that won't help. I want to know who I am actually. Before I was born, was I existing? Like I asked him. He's 21. I said, before 30 years, where were we? Was I living? Was I dead? Where was I? So, when we get knowledge, we understand this. When we understand, we don't suffer. If I understand my identity, and I know what I have to do in this creation, what the purpose of my body is, how I have to serve God, then I won't suffer. But suffering is because I don't know what to do. We took birth in this world. What do we have to do? Of course, we have to eat and get some money. But that will not really satisfy. That is so I can stay alive. Okay, I did work, now I got the money, I bought the food, now I eat the food. Now what shall I do? Work more. Okay, I do more work. Now get more money and more food, more money. Now what shall I do? Now you can get more, work more, get more money. Okay, more money. I got a lot of money. I got a lot of cars. I got so much knowledge, PhD, everything. Now what shall I do? What to do? The money is not making me happy. The car is not making me happy. What do we have to do? We are supposed to worship Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is telling us. Krishna bhuli se ji bhogavancha kare. But we forgot Krishna. We came after bhogavancha, trying to enjoy the body and senses. And so, Krishna bhuli anadi bahir mukh. Ataiva maya tare deya sangsara dukkha. Because we forgot Krishna, now we are in ignorance. And therefore we are suffering. When I don't know who I am, what I should do, I'll do different activities which are not satisfying me. But only one thing I do which will satisfy me is if I'm directly serving Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita, we cannot serve Krishna if we don't know who is Krishna. Now I'm telling you about Krishna. Of course you heard about Krishna. But Krishna says, Evam yo veti tattvataha. Understand me in truth. In truth, tattvataha means properly detailed understanding of Krishna. You have to understand what is the nature of Krishna. Krishna has a spiritual body. Ishwar Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the Param Purusha. Ishwar Parama Krishna Satchid Anand Vigraha. Vigraha means form. His body is Satchid Anand, eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. Anadir. Anadir means he has no beginning. I was born. He is not born. He is always there. Anadir. Adir. But everything is born from him. Adir. Govinda. Sarva Karana Karan. He is the cause of all causes. So, we have to understand Krishna in detail. In detail, how will we understand? Krishna himself gave the knowledge of himself in Bhagavad Gita. Now there are so many people, they'll tell you, I'll tell you about Krishna. They call themselves this guru, that guru, Baba, yogi, something. And they'll tell you, I'll tell you about Krishna. They cannot tell anything. It has to come from Bhagavad Gita. Because it cannot come from someone's own opinion. We want to know exactly what is Krishna. Or the person speaking must be speaking from Gita. Then we can accept it. Then what will be the result? The result will be what happened to Arjuna. What happened? Arjuna became liberated. Arjun became perfect. He's finished his material life. I mean, not immediately. He finished all the suffering because he became free from all the material conception, thinking, I am the body, I am in this world. He understood, I am Atma, soul, I am eternal servant of Krishna. So even if we accept that, but we have to realize. Realize means sakshat vichar. Directly we have to understand it. So for that we need proper knowledge of Krishna, as well as the person speaking, he should be a bhakt, devotee. Then he can give this knowledge. So in this verse, it says that to understand Krishna, we have to take knowledge either from Krishna or Krishna's representative. So Arjuna was lucky, Krishna was right there. I want to hear Bhagavad Gita, but Krishna, I cannot see Krishna physically, even though he's everywhere. I cannot speak with him. How will I get the knowledge? I'll get knowledge from Krishna's devotee, Bhakt. Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON, he wrote this Gita. He's coming in parampara from Krishna. Now, I might think Arjuna was lucky because he was right near Krishna. He heard Bhagavad Gita in Dwapar Yuga on Kurukshetra, a battlefield where Krishna was there. But I'm not there. I'm here in JP Nagar, and now it's Kali Yuga. I'm very unfortunate. Yes, I am. But spiritual knowledge is not affected by time and place. So, none of you in Kurukshetra, you're here. I am also here. But all of us are getting knowledge from this Gita. It's the same potency, power that Arjun got. It's not less. You can get the same potency, the power, because spiritual knowledge is not affected by time and place. Sometimes a person is here, then I go somewhere else, he's here and I'm there. So he's far away from me. Now if I go to Banargata Road, someone is here, there's a big distance between us. But Krishna, distance is not a problem because Krishna is everywhere. So even if I'm here, wherever I am, I can speak with Krishna directly. Inside he can speak, he can communicate with me. That is place. And time also doesn't affect spiritual potency. If supposing in Satya Yuga, this place, Krishna had his Leela. Now it's Kali Yuga. So much time has passed, the potency will not go because bhakti will stay in the akash, in the ether. It will not go. So time and space doesn't affect spiritual knowledge. Now I'm reading here Bhagavad Gita, you're hearing. Arjuna heard from Krishna, but we are all hearing from Prabhupada. Still we can get perfection. And Krishna will connect with you. If you read, you understand, if we are serious, Krishna can give that knowledge. Like he says here, that discussion of Krishna is very important. If a fortunate person has such association, Sangha, tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjun, describes these topics. Here. That Krishna reveals knowledge to a particular living entity and gives him intelligence to understand the science of Krishna. So we'll get that science, the potency, that intelligence to understand, we'll get it. But we have to come regularly here and become qualified. Adhikar is required. And what will be the result? Here Krishna says, Pravakshami, he will speak from within. Jnanam, Jnana and Vijnana. That means Jnana is knowledge. What is Vijnana? Yeah, now in modern day, Vijnana means science, that is there, but in Sanskrit, Vijnana can mean different terms. So Vijnana means realization. Realization means what? Anubhav. Anubhav or Sakshat Vichar, like that. That means that knowledge like I'm understanding, am I? Sakshatkar, realization. No, not that. See, yeah, Sakshatkar, see, some knowledge, example. I am Atma. I have that knowledge, you have that knowledge, but we did not realize. If you realize that knowledge, then our mind will be different. We'll be spiritual, isn't it? So that proper understanding of the knowledge, that means realization. So Krishna will give that realization. So these topics can be realized, it says here, amongst devotees. If we want to realize Krishna, we have to come with devotees. If you want to be a good accountant, you have to sit with accountants, isn't it? If you want to be a good drunkard, you have to be with the drunkards in the bar. Then you'll become a good drunkard. If you want to know about Krishna and become mad about Krishna, then you have to sit with the Krishna Bhakt. You sit with them and stay awake, then you will understand. We'll get the knowledge of Krishna, realization. So inside Krishna will give that knowledge. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. Krishna will give knowledge and realization by which Yajgyatva Moksha Se Shubhat. Our suffering will end. We are suffering because of lack of knowledge of God and Atma, us. So we'll get that knowledge. We have to get this knowledge. That will stop our suffering. We cannot stop suffering by material things. Car, money, house. That is matter. It's like matter. You see, this is matter. Jada, bhautik. This is matter. This is matter. This is Bhagavad Gita. Paper is matter. So this cannot stop our suffering. Suffering can be stopped on the spiritual level when we connect to Krishna. That will come by hearing Bhagavad Gita and understanding. So we should hear regularly. First of all of you should read. If you cannot read Bhagavad Gita, we have small books about Bhagavad Gita. You can read the small books. I'm sure in your day you have some time. So in the course of the day, make it a point to read these books, understand about Krishna, because all of us have a relation with God. For many births, we have ignored that relation. Now we are suffering in the world because of not having that relation. We have to again awaken that relation. So read about Krishna in the small books and come on Sundays and hear about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita's instructions. Hare Krishna. Any question? Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Okay, now we'll have a short kirtan, then stop.